And I just wanted to, before we get started and really listen to your can you give a little bit about your background?
So we both work in the corporate industry, we both belong to the pharmaceutical industry.
We moved to Australia roughly 7.5 years ago now. And we have 1 year, 4-month-old baby. And
Beautiful.
From the time that she was born in 2023, thinking of ways to secure her future, and that's how the conversations with you guys began. So that's a little bit about.
Thank you for joining. So look, I wanted to just capture, why did you, of course, as you said, the purpose is quite clear that you want to get security for your child, and of course maybe for yourself as well for the future. And you're in New South Wales, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So and of course, before coming to Find My Real Estate, you already had investment properties before, or was obviously the first time you bought investment properties?
This was the first time. So we already have a house in where we live in, but we did not have investment properties before. We did that thought of having an investment property did cross our minds before, but we really did not give it that much of a serious thought about how do we go about it.
Yeah. Not until our daughter. Yeah, that changed everything.
I'm sure it does. And there's a lot of emotional connect with that, like how the financial security with family. That's what we want to. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen in 10-15 years, but the security that you need to provide, and straight away you're thinking about investments. Of course, you've done, I think, some share investments which you keep doing on the side as well. But property was completely new right from there as an investment for you. So what led to choosing a buyer's agent or specifically our services rather than actually doing it yourself, since you bought your own property as well?
We are in a 9-to-5 kind of a job. We don't come from wealth. We are first generation that has moved to Australia, new country, new everything, and took us time to find our feet here and get settled. But then we also knew that for our family, we need to do something which will make sure that going forward there is that not wealth creation, not in that sense, but security, like you said earlier. So the thought process was from there, and considering the time constraints that we are working with as 2 working parents and a child, it was important to have experts who know what they're doing. There's a team out there that is doing the groundwork, and you have some peace of mind that they are sharing everything with you after doing their due diligence and research. So you're getting the top line stuff. You can go as deep as you want with your questions, but your legwork is getting done by an entire team. And so you're not having to set aside time to do the research yourself, and that's why we chose FMRE. And a friend's friend actually told us about you guys. We had not known about you before. We knew them, but we didn't really go to that extent of understanding what they really do. So that conversation led to us having a meeting with you on above, and we didn't know what that was going to entail, but the way that you explained how you actually go about the process, very structured. There's an entire strategizing and planning that goes into it. Gave us a lot of confidence in the first go itself.
Yes. I think our approach has been quite conservative when it comes to investment.
Yeah.
We are not heavy risk takers. We like to make sure that we know where our money is going. But as Anu said, your team, Archana in particular, she did a fantastic job in making sure that we are made comfortable, and wherever we are investing in, it's just that the money is directed in the right way. I mean, we are not heavy risk takers, so we want to know what's happening with the money that we are putting in. So that's why your team did a great job.
I think it helps to frame what your end goal is, like which you get to actually, because we have a vague idea of what we want out of our life, considering the restraints that we are working with. So we shared that with you, and then once you knew what that end goal was, you let us work backwards with rough calculations. I remember for numbers and things like that, just off the top of our head, and you had started to work backwards and then showed us that, okay, this is what you need. And I think that helped. That gave us clarity.
Yeah, and this is just a very beginning of the whole journey. The whole idea is that the why needs to be very clear. You're focused on where you're going, where you want to reach, and the whole idea is to design a plan that's going to get you there over the years to come. And therefore, this becomes more like a partnership rather than actually saying it's a transaction and we just complete the transaction, we bought the property. So that doesn't work for most of our clients. People who definitely want to see an ongoing progress, outcomes that we see through the property, the returns that we can see. So that's what we're very passionate to make sure that our clients feel that from the very beginning, and it's grounded there with the right relationship. As you said, Archie helped you a lot, and of course along the way, you've had the delivery team coming with. We had, of course, Sadaf and Amit being there with you. It's how we've designed it to protect and see and give you that confidence along the way. That will allow you to be able to keep stepping forward. So you also said you're very risk averse. So but you signed up for 2 properties together. So that was amazing. What led to that confidence that I can do this together rather than actually testing the waters first with the team and then before jumping onto the second one? Why did you go both together?
Yeah, I think the original thought was to go for just one property, one investment property. But then later your team recommended us that, you obviously can have one property, but you have an option of using, your superannuation. So we thought that might as well utilize that money, which is just, we would get that after once we are 60. So let's buy another property using our superannuation. Came up with the idea of having 2 properties.
Awesome. So of course we don't give any advice in superannuation, but it is also just to educate you that if that is a possibility of expanding your superannuation, getting the right advice from financial planners, accountants, to set that up so that you could maximize the outcome that you can get from the property. But my question was more about, whilst yes, there was money on the other side to make that happen, but being your risk adverse nature that you said at the very beginning, skeptical about things, you literally signed 2 contracts, one in South Australia and one in Queensland, almost in parallel. You almost settled in parallel as well on both those properties, back to back, pretty much. So that's a big step for someone who is very risk adverse. So what led to that confidence that I can do this in parallel rather than actually buying one, finishing, and then buying another one?
Yes, I think the friends who recommended us FMRE and introduced us to Archana. So I think your team, Archana, has been quite helpful in sort of making sure that she's a part of the conversation that we are having with our agent. So we were discussing about the finances, how things would work out. And we got to a point where we felt that having 2 properties is more achievable rather than just having one. And we just felt that it was the right time. The market was hot. We could secure properties in 2 of the most booming states of Australia. So yes, I think your team was not just focused on discussions with us, but they were also involved in discussions with our financial advisors to sort of making sure that all of us are on the same boat, having those discussions. So yeah, I think that was something which really helped us tremendously. And despite being low risk takers, we were quite comfortable with what the financial impact would be and how we will manage that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So how do you feel now after securing 2 properties? Now we settled in October 24. We are now in December. So how are you feeling, with the whole intention of you starting, okay, we need to give security to a child. How are you feeling now after acquiring 2 properties?
It actually feels very good. Sometimes it doesn't feel real, to be honest, that we are now owners of 3 properties in total, one being the primary residence. It didn't seem possible. Say, if you asked me 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said, no way, एक कर लिया बहुत हो गया, एक में जहाँ रुके हैं वहाँ, in a foreign country. But getting to this point has been amazing, and we hope that we can expand the portfolio going forward with you guys, because that's the level of confidence that we feel now after having dealt with FMRE, knowing the kind of team that we're going to be working with and the trust that we have built through the process the past 6 months. So I think that's good enough for us to actually even consider doing more. Yeah,
that's amazing. You can see the value very clearly, that there are so many different opportunities, strategies that we deploy for our clients to make sure that we can continue to keep maximizing the outcome. So, we bought 2 residential properties for you, close to around $500,000 each. I would probably say maybe 540, 530-ish sort of thing, with good rental yields, good land sizes, and of course these